The cell phone, do you go stand in that same corner where you used to answer the phone? Hopefully not. You are able to use it, so it has changed your environment irreversibly. In a contextual context for education, it needs to be transformative and it needs to improve outcomes. If you're spending millions and billions, there needs to be proof that that which you are doing has a beneficial effect. Heaven forbid that our ICT and technology being brought into classrooms, into the world of learners, provides them with a great opportunity to learn less as they become more and more social beings and less academic of nature. And that is one of the gravest difficulties, challenges. It needs to improve our outcomes. So the deliverology, here we go, sorry. The deliverology on the right wishes to work away from government by spasm, or WCED that reacts to things. It needs to be proactive. It needs to be honest in its conversations. You can't say this is what we want to do, but you don't add the resources to enable the change. You can't say that we've got broadband in school. Sorry, Cecil, I happen to look at you. And the broadband is not working. So we have it, but we don't have it. Honest conversations, facing up to the challenges, and addressing the challenges as soon as possible. So that being the game changer itself, WCED was then invited to form part of the game changer team. Fine. And it went through different processes in formulating its argument and its attack plan. Research has been done, so what we are doing are informed by research. Vision statement has been created. A roadmap of where we are and where we would be in the next 3 years has been crafted, and then that into an action plan per annum. And that's where we are right now. Sorry, it's on the previous slide. That's where we are right now. And our vision is the following: effective integration of ICT into teaching and learning activities that promotes deep learning experiences for learners that will lead to those two sub-goals as I indicated earlier. Improve learning outcomes, better prepared learners for the 21st century. At the bottom is just the evidence. If you double click on that, you will find the documents which says this is the vision, this is the plan, this is the costing scenario, that's the game changer, and that's the monitoring and evaluation model. This will be available for you as well. So we've taken that information, we've created our if and then statements. If I want to go to the shopping center, I need to know what I'm going to do there. I need to have the funds in my pocket to buy what I want to do. If, then. So our if and then statements is what we debated for a while, came up with 8 of them, refined the 8 to 6, took the 6, situated that in the broader picture of education in South Africa, because believe it or not, we are one of many provinces. We're not just an island on our own. So how do we situate the game changer within the grand plan of South Africa? That alignment has also been done for you. So now we have our 6 different streams. It doesn't look like it, but I'll talk to you about it. And the 6 different streams typically say, we want to reach destination X. X marks the spot. In order to get there, we need to have good roadways, or know what roadway we're going to follow. We need to have roadworthy vehicle, tires is opgeblaas and alles. We need to have a competent driver that's going to drive it. We need to be able to have a dashboard so that we can keep our eye on whether the oil light is coming on or whether the petrol is too low. But we also need to have fuel in the car to take us from where we are to point X that we want to be. Within that, we also need to change our behavior. We might be driving very long, so you might have to pull off the side of the road, close your eyes for a while. You may be driving in rainy conditions, so therefore you're going to change your behavior and have a leading gap between cars and. You follow my thinking? So get to destination X. There are a number of activities that you need to be aware of. So those is represented as the following. E-administration, technology in place, teachers as the drivers, e-content, the culture in which we find ourselves. Don't do things similar to what we are doing it right now. There is a significant change behavior that is necessary. And the infrastructure like the broadband and the local area networks and Wi-Fi and Hi-Fi and those type of things, that is the roadways that we follow. And I have 2 minutes left to get to destination X. So we've taken those 6 streams and determined for ourselves it's impossible to move, like Moses, everybody to the promised land. So we will take it in sections. The first that we were looking at was looking at a model environment to give an idea of what is possible. So there are 2 schools in each district that we created as a model school environment, lots of technology, lots of activity going into those model schools. Then another group of schools that we call enhanced. They are less provided than the model schools, but they are a big number, something like 300 and something schools, where we will do a lot of other enabling enhancements and enabling change. I say will, but in fact, I'll show you how far down the line we are if I can have maybe 2 minutes extra. And then there's a universal group of schools where we are starting and igniting that fire. But there's also activity across all of those 3 different types. I'm not going to linger on here. You'll get this presentation. Universal, enhance, and model. This slide just shows what activity is current at each of these categories. So within each of those categories, wide area network, broadband, connectivity. You know those terms. I think a couple of years ago might have been less easily understood by people, but you go into a shopping center and you're looking for Wi-Fi. You go to somebody's house and you Wi-Fi. You pick it up on your phone generally and you're able to Google and do whatever you want to online. This provides an opportunity for schools to get online, but to also do transactions with other schools, other countries, as well as head office mothership. Our target was 1,470. To date, we have delivered, through Cecil and their team, 1,200 and something. Another 14 progress, which leaves us a remainder of whatever the mathematical equation is. So I think it is to prove to you that it is not horizon speak, ons gaan nou begin nie. But we actually have done quite a lot in the last 2 years, to enable 1,200 plus schools that have broadband connectivity. Next question is, ja, maar werk die goed? And that is a very, very interesting question for the next speaker to follow up on. So, sorry, Christoph. When you've got this thick pipeline coming into your home or into the school, it can then just terminate there, which means that all of you must come here if you want to go online. That's one way. So all of you, just right now, just come here. Challenging. So to counter that, you distribute the signal throughout the environment, throughout the school. The number of schools that we have planned is 416 by the end of 2018, this year. How many have we done already? Round about 320, that number has gone up. I think it's not an insignificant number. Remember, we are looking at what is necessary to tip the scales so that it doesn't tip back again. The point of irreversibility. I think we are starting to reach that point of irreversibility. So 300 schools of 1,400 is not an insignificant number. Delivered, not horizon speak. Learner devices, that's the big one. The schools that can afford it, the parents that can afford it, will always raise their head, I suppose, because they can afford it. So they would have learner devices that they are able to give to their kids to take to school. But what about children that cannot, or households that will not be able to do so? So there are different projects on the brew We have already delivered something like 32,000, considering that there's 1 million kids in our country, and then looking at those who have difficulty to provide for themselves, it's probably almost 50% or if not more. So we have a long way to go around this, but there are exciting projects that we will be launching around that too. Generally, already the schools have the possibility of using whatever devices learners can bring into the environment, provided the school allows it, should allow it. They can use it already. And you'll find that in many of the census that has been done, most learners have a device. You might not want to admit it because it's their device, but most learners, if they want to, they have a device to enable them to connect. Smart classrooms is a technology-enabled classroom. Some of you may be recipients of that already. There's about 6.5 that state has provided over the last 2 years. That does not count that which has happened before. It does not count schools that have acquired on their own technology into the classroom, data projector and notebook and so on. Or teachers that have their own. Because you also have your own tool sets, because you can't wait for others to necessarily do that for you. So another 1,000 is scoped for this year, which will take us to 7.5 or 8,000, which then represents close on 30% of the classrooms throughout the province. By the end of 2018-19, we were looking at least 40% of classrooms throughout the country, the province, that have smart classrooms. Next question is, ja, maar het hulle die vermoë om dit te gebruik? Do they have the ability to use it? And that is a very interesting question for Dr. Beets, for Dr. Brandt to follow up on in his slot. You would also find, besides the fact that I have to stop, you will find that there are slim labs in your environment now. Slim labs is piggybacking on the previous project that had infrastructure and technology placed into labs, and there is a process of refreshing that as well. So 705 had been delivered last year, 455 is planned for this year. Already delivered, how many did I say? 705. Is it connected? Is it working? Largely yes, and you'll find instances where it is not, and it's got to do with education on how to get learners to access. So that's a process in the making. I spoke about change behavior. So there's a process of change that will be enabled. I think you'll find guidelines coming through very shortly on safety, how to keep learners safe in the cyber environment, and e-content being placed within a repository, e-portal. That needs growth. At the moment, we are working on a dashboard that if a learner identifies who they are and what subjects they do, we will be able to push content to that learner. I say I'm grade 10, I do life sciences, so here's the resources that you can have a look at a certain term. That is in development right now. Sorry for speaking, I just finished. I'm not going to belabor too much on that. In each of the districts, there are advisory support, not just from a curriculum point of view, but also assistance on ICT and its integration. If you have not been introduced to your e-learning advisor, they are the ones that had created this forum, this environment, and it would be good to pick up conversations directly with them. You indicating to them what your needs are. Your needs from a development point of view is critical. And then centralized support services. As die goed nie werk nie, kan ons dit nie gebruik nie. If it doesn't work, we can't use it. And Sissel and his team have put together a contract with a service provider which is new to our environment, which now provides direct support as of the 1st of March. This contract has been initiated. So there's a help desk. It's supposed to work in the following manner, that you indicate what your challenge is, you get the reference number, and the support teams are dispatched to your environment. Either they do it online, or if it's a face-to-face, they'll come to your school. It has just been initiated. I invite you to flood the lines with the challenges that you may have. Because in that way, we are able to gauge what the greatest challenges are and then command the resources for that. So there are numerous challenges, numerous risks that need to be Christel. Okay, to prove to you that what I have been saying is not necessarily sucked from my tongue, but the screen in front of you indicates how many learners and how many schools you have and what technology has been done within your environments. And you'll find yourself reflected somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. If you want to be accommodating, then another 2 minutes become another 2 minutes. And I'm sure everybody knows the Afrikaans word for the sit toon op petrol and gaan aan. Thank you, Mr. Walker. Overview of the game changer for Mr. Schroeder and then the technology rollout. I'm sure you can see the last 2 years, the enabling environment really changed a lot. Now Dr. Brandt is in the hot seat. He needs to do his presentation on, yes, it landed in the classroom. What now? Are we prepared? So Dr. Brandt will do the professional development side on this presentation today. Dr. Brandt? And I have, first of all, keep calm 10 minutes, green. And then I'm going to show you a 5-minute yellow. And then the stop sign.
Good morning, colleagues. Good to be here. I will be 10 minutes. Be with me. The race will be soon. The journey will be short. But I need you to focus on each and every slide because it has a powerful little message and it says exactly where you are part of and what we, in which way we jointly secure your journey. So the conference is about what have we done? What have we done? And I saw a couple that was challenged by the same question. Honey, what have we done? Yes, incredible. But colleagues, yes, it was possible. And if we didn't do it, then there would have been no results. So colleagues, as was indicated by Mr. Walker, we have already journeyed along the route. And I want you to remember the words, the journey, because what I'm going to confirm to you, this is about a journey, and it's not about an arrival. We have not entered into the education sphere and debate and classrooms without being very aware of the journey towards. It is not about my arrival. It's not about the arrival of all the technology in your classes. It is how we will take this further, how you will become part of this, because, and I hope you will understand, it is about your becoming. It is about your becoming. And this is why we confirm. And colleagues, if you forget anything of the day, try to remember my picture, the becoming, because as teachers we start, and you were there, in the phase of professional development, but through your competence, through your dedication, you confirm who you are. You confirm that you are competent. You confirm that you can accomplish. And eventually you confirm that you can lead. This is the route. This is the invitation to you. This is where we've been thus far. And we can't be there without our teachers, and you are there. And you have shown it to us. And even in the ICT debate, we have confirmed that there's a growing pattern, there's a platform, and don't accept the fact that I might not be able to know exactly what I need to do, because it provides, the space provides us with the opportunity to grow, to follow the pathway, to become emerging. If I'm not sure as to where I am at the moment, I may start, I may continue, I may apply, I may integrate, I may eventually transform the world and your classrooms where you are. But it is about every classroom, every learner, every day, and the quality that we can provide to each one of those. And try to remember that. Our head of education says this constantly. That's why I only abbreviate that every. Yes, colleagues. Mr. Walker indicated we've provided the environment. We provided the tools. And you will see them in your classrooms. And can I tell you, we have surveyed nationally in the province questionnaires for a reason. We spoke to our teachers. We wanted to find out what it is about because we needed to make assessments and we needed to make preferred decisions which will take you en route and which will take our learners with you so that we can change the world where we're heading. And therefore, colleagues, if you are challenged and if you are requested to attend to data, please take part because you're contributing. You're contributing to the fact that we need to be informed of exactly what we are doing. I can confirm and I can reflect on a number of pilots and actions where we dedicatedly attempted something, secured it, monitored it properly, and learned the lessons so that we can continue. Therefore, even as an opportunity, we ask teachers to assess themselves, to see how am I? Am I okay to accept the invitation? Not whether you're okay as a teacher, not at all. It's about, am I okay? Am I willing? Am I motivated to listen to my own self, to understand that I have the ability and I can engage in and I can activate a journey of development and involvement in training and in courses. That is why, at this point in time, colleagues, there is a huge menu. I think the list is about, we're referring to about 64 courses that are available. That means that it is at your disposal. And we can continue and get involved in the courses for the sake of our. And the courses were focused on the one side, computer skills, but on the other hand, the integration. There's a wonderful word which I use so often. It's about the infusion. How can I infuse my ICT skills into the classrooms, into the subjects that we know? And therefore, colleagues, we have offered a variety of training, face-to-face, coming into a space, into a laboratory to be taught and to be led, or to be face-to-face and eventually leave and to continue with my activation. And then, lately, we've also not only piloted and extended the options of total online, at your own leisure, at your own time, at your own space, and engage in that. I'm concluding. And we trained our e-learning advisors, CTLI, our CEI, and so I can list a number of entities which I refer to, which do the training. We created learning opportunities. In the past 16 years, since 22, the data is available. Up to 2018, 47,000 teachers have engaged. In the game changer period instances, we have activated 15,000 where teachers came in, irrespective of how many times. And that equals 10,000 teachers. We are experiencing the wave in which teachers are responding and coming to our training sessions. Colleagues, and we've driven to your schools, we've observed your classrooms, we've requested and informed the universities because we provide the feedback to them. Because those teachers need to be informed to be able to take the leap into our classrooms, but to be prepared to be part of it and not to get the shock of their lives when they enter our new classrooms. Some of our teachers have enrolled at university level, at higher level, for the courses that is possible. And we've applauded and we've graduated with them. I'm heading to one of those ceremonies immediately after this. We negotiated with our service providers. We moved people to the front row, and can I tell you that? And please remember that. On your way up, you have moved into the front row. You need not hide away behind whatever challenge you might experience. It is possible for you to indicate and to have the self-talk by saying, I am in the middle, I am in the front, I can now forward. Colleagues, therefore, talking about university, yes, it is university. Once we started, the journey will continue. And I do not doubt that. We are securing that all the entities in our province that are involved with the professional development will continue. But the most important one is, always we're building confidence. I want to confirm that you are confident teachers, and you need to accept the confidence that you will be able to transform the world. And if we have to be Superman to change our own abilities, then we'll do so. And we will transform to perform. And can I thank you for that?
Thank you, Dr. Brandt. I'm sure you are also revitalized after this presentation. Dr. Brandt, are you still lecturing? Because I want to sign up for your next teacher professional development session. Thank you so much. Right, Mr. Cecil de Wet, CEI Innovation. He's going to deal with the infrastructure, the WAN infrastructure at our schools. And remember, he's the face behind the help desk, the support services that Clinton Walker spoke about.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Our previous speakers have created great expectation. They spoke about this new wave and this new type of teaching and what we are heading towards. I am under great pressure, I must tell you, to deliver. I want to introduce myself by saying I work for the Center of E-Innovation, where we call ourselves the enabling partner of the WCED, Western Cape Education Department. So through ICTs, we would like to make this vision a reality. So let me just start, colleagues, by saying we're building technology ecosystems to enable learning in a digital economy. ICT, we are the ICT partners, and we want to enable this vision of Western Cape Education Department. Firstly, I quickly want to latch on to what the previous speakers spoke of. These are the education vision and the education strategy, and we as CEI endeavor to make this work, with various frustrations that we have, and I want to share that with you. I want to run through this quickly. These are the current projects that you have in your school: broadband, SLAN, Wi-Fi, and all the what is it called? The refreshes that you have, etc. And I've got current numbers, as Mr. Walker referred to earlier, that we have over 1,056 schools that have been migrated. And I quickly want to stop there by saying migration simply means from the current infrastructure that you have, the current internet access that you have with ADSL or a modem or whatever, we have moved it now over to the broadband. The internet that the government provides. The fast internet. Can I put it into brackets? The fast, reliable internet that we have. And this is how we are operationalizing the broadband in our schools. So at many schools that I visit or when I speak to people, speak to teachers and principals, this is the biggest frustration that we have. You have promised us something and you're not delivering on that promise. So give me an opportunity, dear colleagues, just to... Brothers and sisters. We spoke about the destination and this is where we want to be. A new learning space, a classroom of the future, a new classless environment where we can use the technology and it is not an issue anymore. You know, it's simple, it is just a way of life. But it is a process, and a process has to do with lots of projects and collaboration and many partners and many planning and many strategies that goes hand in hand with that. And when I speak about the broadband, I want to tell you that it is a phased approach, meaning that there are various phases in this whole broadband project which lasts, or the project is a 10-year project. And we are now in the second phase of our broadband project. First phase, dear colleagues, would be started 1st October 2014 to 30 September 2017. And in that first phase, the project says that we will have 90% of all government institutions, 90% would at least have a 10 megabit per second speed connection to the internet. And that is the speed, and that is the first phase of the project. So when you have issues at your school, or when you have struggles and challenges of not connecting fast enough, or being disconnected or cutting out, it is part of this first phase of the project. You must remember we have initially have 1,914 sites to be connected. And it is a massive project. And it's a process to get everybody on the same page. So Walker also referred to the universal schools and to the advanced schools, and then afterwards the model schools. So it is a process, dear colleagues, to get you there. But the first phase, the first 3-year phase of the project is now completed. And we can safely say that we have that number, we have reached that. That 90% of schools are at least on 10 megabits per second speed. That's the speed of the internet. The second phase, sorry, let me just go back. The second phase, which has started now in 2017 to 2022, the second 5-year phase would be that we would have 90% of the schools again on 100 megabit per second speed. And that is where we are now. We are in the middle of that 5-year phase. So at least you would feel a bit of comfort, a bit of faster connectivity, etc. And I'm at pains to explain to principals and teachers the same process. That yes, it is a bit frustrating, it takes a bit of time, but we are getting there. Please understand that it is a process that we're moving towards. And obviously the last phase would be that we would have everybody on 1 gigabit per second speed and more. And that is what was promised. That is the destination. And I'm sure when we get to that time, 1 gigabit per second would be the minimum speed that we would arrive at. The destination would be where internet and speed and Wi-Fi you wouldn't even notice it because it won't be an issue. It would just be there. For now you do notice it. And one of the previous speakers says that when I go on holiday, that's the first thing my children ask me. Is there Wi-Fi at this place? Is there Wi-Fi at the place? And when we are in the bush, but because that is an issue. When we reach our destination, it would no longer be an issue. It would just be there. So I would like you to go with us on this journey, dear colleagues. Just some figures and numbers. To date, we have 266 schools that have been migrated on fiber. 685 on a wireless connection. Just to indicate the difference to you, for instance, that the process to get everybody onto the broadband is not an easy process. Fiber is obviously the stable line that we want, the stable connection, but in places where we can't get the fiber to you, we're using Wi-Fi in the meantime. Let me just move quickly. Estelle has shown you already. This is the type of connection that you would have at your school for those who have wireless, for others who have fiber installation. Just a quick look. This presentation will also be available. This is the team. We've got the technology manager, which is Reginald van Rooy, and most of you have seen the project manager is Mark Rollison, and the rest of the team would be the services managers and the whole IT technology team. We have plus minus 50 technologists in the field. So when you do log your call, those are the people going out. So with each project there would be different challenges that you would have. No internet, bad connection, slow internet, etc. And this is what you do when you experience that, colleagues. You contact the service desk. And this is the escalation procedure. You contact the service desk on those details. You don't get joy within 3 days. You phone them again and they will follow up. 5 days you contact the services manager, they will give you the details. They've got the numbers, and then after 7 days, feel free to contact your education district and the CEI director. I would say in some schools we are busy implementing a probe in schools. We have identified a couple of schools already, and the probe basically means we can identify certain things before it happens. We can, for instance, identify if your access points are down at certain schools, if your internet is not working fast enough, etc., etc. And to do proactive call logging. I've got an example of a few schools where, for instance, where the probe is installed, we could see who are connected to the internet at a certain stage. How many teachers, how many pupils or learners. We can even see what sites have been visited, how many sites, what sites were visited, etc. But the reason for the probe is for proactive call logging, so we can see which access points are down and so on. So I've got an example of 5 schools that we've done previously. This I want to emphasize. What we have and what is available for all schools, for everybody, is the online portal that we have, an app that you install or the website that you go to. If you query any activity at your school at a certain time, if you're not sure about what type of pieces are these, how do I connect my cell phone to the internet, it's a search button that you can type in any question and you should get an answer. There's also online videos that we have. This is available to everybody. And lastly, colleagues, I want to end off with the vision of my director. Our landscape is changing and our approach needs to change as well. Those who stay ahead are those that can adapt to change. They are flexible, they're innovative, they lead, and they set the bar, or the bar. Our challenge is to find ways in which we can work together as a team and innovate to do things smarter. And the last quote, as CEI, we are committed to influencing the way Western Cape government talks about IT. And we continue to actively raise the bar. On the details of the director, Mrs. Basha. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. De Wet. I just want to emphasize in this presentation that if you don't do the official route of logging a call to the help desk services desk, then nobody will come out and help you. It is very important for the game changer, for head office, for services, the quality of service, to log all the calls and to see what trends are there in the schools that you have difficulties with. So please don't cry if you don't follow the correct procedures. And then they will be there in a flash. Like Dr. Brandt said, Superman will be there on your doorstep as soon as possible. Thank you to all the presenters and have a nice day.
Thank you, Christopher. Colleagues, yes, we all want connectivity. And I hope that you enjoyed this journey as much as I have. But the most important connection is the human connection. So I want to really say thank you to our DDG curriculum for being here and for really inspiring us. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule and to find the time to spend with our district, our principals, our officials. We really appreciate it. That human connection is still that spark, Dr. Beats. Then, colleagues, I want to ask Mr. Llewellyn Scholes, who is an ex-CAPS teacher of Trafalgar in our district. He is the Executive Director of G30 Campus and also ICANN, which is an initiative of the Western Cape government. I want to call upon you to hand over the gift to Dr. Beats. To our panel, Mr. Worker, Dr. Heini Brand, and Mr. De Beek, thank you for inspiring us, for taking us on that journey and to where we started out with a rollout plan in 2002. The infrastructure and where we are now, we can actually look back and say, wow, we did it. Thank you for giving us all of that and for really holding our hands throughout this process. We could easily call upon you, your team, the technicians. Once we've logged the call, we get that email, we get the phone call, and the team turns up. Colleagues, just bear with me. So thank you for taking us on that journey, because we are transformed already. We're no longer the same teachers, the same officials that we were last year even. Vastly different from when we started out. We can easily connect, and it brings the magic into the classroom. And that is what it's all about, the magic in the classroom. Thank you, Mr. Walker, thank you, Dr. Brandt, and thank you to Mr. De Beek. Again, Mr. Scott, the honor is yours. Mr. Scott is a vital partner in our department. Our Chief Director, Curriculum, Mr. Mohammed, even though he's not part of the panel, but he's very much part of us. Finger on the pulse with us, especially Central, and especially me too. I'm a new kid on the block. Curriculum, Mr. Mohammed, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. Colleagues, you've been a fantastic audience thus far. Before we break for tea, just a few house rules. Just to let you know, we've been live streamed on YouTube from the word that I said good morning to you. Then also, colleagues, just a reminder, it's a hands-on conference, so please be prepared to work. It's going to be practical, and as the theme says, hands-on. Then also for those colleagues who have brought their own laptops, their own devices, we do have technical support. It's the table as you go to the ladies and gents toilet when you turn to your left. Each session will be 40 minutes long. We also have exhibitors. Some of you have already browsed and seen them. So those of you who have not, please, during the tea and the lunch breaks, please pay a visit to those exhibitors. Then, at the end of the session, at the end of the day, we ask that you please be here punctually for the final plenary. Our partners, our sponsors and service providers have provided fabulous prizes. If you are not present, you cannot be the winner of any of those prizes. Then also, in each room where the sessions will be taking place, there are QR codes, and we please ask you to do the feedback as you go along. Our partners will be in those rooms to assist you and also with the connectivity. It will just be so much easier so that you don't do all the feedback in this room at the end of the session. Last one, for the principals, after tea, all principals who are attending, you are requested to convene in H1, which is the first room on that side. Thank you. Enjoy your tea.